In the headlines, UWI Open Campus holds first virtual graduation ceremony. COVID-19 restrictions are further relaxed, but a total lockdown continues on Sundays. And U.S. mercenaries fail in coup attempt to oust Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
Avec flow, gagner l'argent, on partit l'argent avec flow. Gagner l'argent, on gros sac l'argent. C'est juste ça pour gagner un gros sac l'argent avec flow. Animez on top up, sign up, quittez yo, et vite joindre flow. It only gets better with flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that. But the way you cover up also matters, and that means breaking a habit you've held near and dear all your life. Cover your nose and mouth with your flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue immediately. Then wash your hands. Help stop the spread of germs. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
A message by the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dominica.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Away $30,000 in cash,
oh, yeah.
2 bags of money plus a grand every Friday.
With Flow is better every day, and now we're making Fridays great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? Yeah. From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, the UWI Open Campus Dominica branch held its first virtual graduation ceremony on Wednesday. The ceremony was for participants of the Continuing Professional Education CPE program. Head of the UWI Open Campus Dominica branch, Dr. Kimon Joseph, says 171 individuals, 68% female, 32% male, participated in the course, which ran from January to April 2020.
This year, we successfully offered 7 courses: Advanced Counseling, Advanced Excel, Building and Construction Management 1, Computer Networking, Introduction to Supervisory Management, Project Management, and Public Speaking and Professional Presentation Skills. This evening, we will recognize the achievements of students in 4 of these courses: Advanced Counseling, Advanced Excel, Computer Networking, and Public Speaking and Professional Presentation Skills. The participants of the other 3 CPE courses will be recognized during our second virtual certificate ceremony, which is scheduled to take place next week, Wednesday.
The Open Campus's suite of programs continues to grow from strength to strength as it arms participants with more fine-tuned skills for the workplace.
We continue to work steadfastly in terms of new program development. And this academic year, Dominica site has worked with the UWI Open Campus Academy of Sport and the CPE Center to develop sports coaching essentials 1 and 2, which were approved. And 32 coaches completed the first course in February of this year, while 35 are currently pursuing coaching essentials 2 and hope to finish at the end of May.
The institution has already begun developing new programs which it hopes to incorporate in the upcoming academic year.
We have developed a slate of 5 courses that we plan to submit for approval over the course of the new academic year. 3 of them are in the area of counseling, 1 is in the area of sports, and 1 is in the area of leadership and management. It is an ambitious project, particularly as our small team will still have to market, manage, and monitor the courses that are already on offer, even as we continue to train our tutors and our own staff. But I think we can do it, and I think we will do it. If COVID has taught us one thing, it is that as human beings, we must evolve and we must grow, and we have to change when things change.
In more top stories, a further relaxation on health restrictions imposed on the country in the fight against COVID-19. These restrictions are continuing to be peeled back in the context of the success so far in containing the spread of the pandemic. The only 2 current active cases of COVID-19 in the country are likely to be discharged this weekend if they return 2 negative test results within 24 hours. Dominica last recorded a positive case of COVID-19 28 days ago.
These include allowing reopening of appliances and electronic shops, reopening of clothing and textile shops. The public is also given permission to access the beaches and rivers under specific conditions. That is, between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., Mondays to Saturday, as part of stress management. There must not be any barbecues on the beaches or the rivers, and there must be no consumption of alcohol on the beaches as well. There must not be loud music, picnics, or parties on the beaches, and groups of not more than 10 persons will be allowed. Practicing physical distancing as much as possible. But I must warn you that there will be the police manning and monitoring these beaches. So anyone found not complying to these measures, appropriate action will be taken.
Business places will be open to the public from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, but there are conditions attached.
That businesses which are allowed to operate must put in place measures to ensure that their staff and customers adhere to the Ministries of Health preventive measures and guidelines as follows: maintaining physical distancing 6 feet with clear markings where applicable, mandatory wearing of mask upon entering and whilst in the facility, mandatory hand sanitizing on entry and exit of the facility, and giving of appointments where applicable. Failure to implement these necessary measures will result in the temporary closure of the specific business places.
Meantime, a number of businesses will remain closed with a review on the 11th of May 2020.
Bars, nightclubs and game shops, hair salons and barber shops, sulfur spas, schools, churches, gyms, manicure and pedicure shops as well. The primary healthcare services continue for appointments and home visits to be done on a weekly basis. The secondary care services at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital remains as is. That is, no visiting and no elective surgeries. Oncology and cardiology clinics by appointment only. Temperature screening at the entry gate of the hospital will also continue.
The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases remain at 16. 14 of them have recovered. All 152 contacts identified have been cleared. There are no cases under investigation. No Dominican national has died so far from COVID-19. In related news, Dominicans may now have a greater degree of freedom to access the beaches and rivers, but a total lockdown remains in effect on Sundays. Additionally, the curfew remains in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday to Saturday.
I must emphasize that adjusting the restrictive measures is not a carte blanche. It does not mean business as usual. As a matter of fact, we are in a new normal state. We must continue to practice hand washing, respiratory etiquette as regards to how we sneeze and how we cough in the public, proper wearing and removal of masks, and we must always wash our hands before wearing our mask as well, sanitizing and disinfecting our homes, businesses, and workplaces.
Dr. McIntyre also had some sad news this week of the death of a member of the Cuban Medical Brigade helping Dominica fight the COVID-19 pandemic.
On behalf of the government and the people of Dominica, I would like to extend my deepest sympathy and condolences to the Cuban Medical Brigade in Dominica and the Cuban people as well. Last evening, there was an unfortunate incident where one of our Cuban Medical Brigade suddenly collapsed. He's a 42-year-old male. He came to Dominica on March 29th as part of our Cuban COVID Medical Brigade. He completed 2 weeks, that's 14 days of quarantine in Portsmouth, after which he was assigned to the COVID isolation unit at the Princess Margaret Hospital, where he worked from the 16th to the 20th of April. After completing his work schedule from the 16th to the 20th, he again did another 2 weeks quarantine, which is the normal protocol. 2 weeks quarantine after you've been to a COVID facility, and that he completed. He was due to begin work again yesterday when he suddenly collapsed. He was supposed to have started work at the Accident and Emergency Department, so it was a very sad day for the Cuban Brigade as well as for Dominica. And for this, we extend our deepest condolences and sympathy to the people of the Republic of Cuba.
In other developments, no reports of increased illegal dumping during the COVID-19 pandemic. Julian Morris has that story.
Illegal dumping around the country has been a concern of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation for years, as Dominicans use shortcuts to get rid of refuse instead of bringing the items to the landfill. General Manager of the corporation, Florian Mitchell, says during the outbreak in Dominica, there have been no reports of increased indiscriminate dumping.
We have not seen any increase in illegal dumping. As I said, there is this services being offered. You have the collection equipment. We are out there every single day, Monday to Friday, and Saturdays. So it means that, the vehicles are out in the community, so there is no need to go and dump your stuff. And that is where, if we meet people dumping illegally, we should jail them, because in a heightened situation wherein we are saying that you should stay at your home, why is it that you want to go and dump illegally? I think that should be a good case in point where we should, if we find people like that, we should just send them up to the Stockton prison.
Dominicans are still being urged to play their part in keeping the country clean and green during the COVID-19 crisis and to desist from dumping garbage outside of the collection schedule.
Once you have human beings who do not want to follow protocol, you're always going to have those issues. Again, it is our responsibility to ensure that our island is clean, and not necessarily that of our neighbor. If you do your part and your neighbor do your part, then the entire country benefits. But it is our responsibility. It's our country, and if you love your country as a citizen, you should take pride in keeping your country clean. And I think that is the underlying thing. It is your country. Why throw a fridge over the cliff? You could take it to the landfill. Why throw your bag of garbage down the road? Come on. You're coming to Roseau, you could take it to the landfill. If you do not know your collection day or time, call the Solid Waste Management Corporation, 449-8168.
The Solid Waste Management Corporation General Manager has noticed a significant reduction in the volume of waste in the city of Roseau, and Dominicans are being urged to keep up this practice of cleanliness.
One of the things I've noticed is that if you drive through Roseau, we'd have seen less litter, which is one of the things that I've noticed, that the level of litter that we're seeing on the streets, it has reduced significantly. And it would mean that when we get back to business as usual, I want the public to be mindful. Please use the litter bin or hold your litter in your vehicle. Do not throw your litter out of your vehicle. I mean, if you walk through the streets of Roseau now, you would see the litter content is very, very minimal. And most of the litter that we're seeing, it would be probably the vagrants that probably open a bin and cause some issues.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that. But the way you cover up also matters, and that means breaking a habit you've held near and dear all your life. Cover your nose and mouth with your flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue immediately. Then wash your hands. Help stop the spread of germs. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
A message by the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dominica.
Avec Flow, gagnez l'argent, on partit l'argent avec Flow. Gagnez l'argent, on consacre l'argent. C'est juste ça pour gagner un gros sac l'argent avec Flow. Animez on top up, sign up, quittez yo, et venez joindre Flow. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You will expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Away $30,000 in cash, 2 bags of money plus $1,000 every Friday.
We're flowing better every day, and now we're making Fridays great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? From Flow.
So top up, get a plan. plan or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Local media have been challenged to play their part in keeping the country's culture alive during the COVID-19 outbreak. Julian Morris explains.
The Dominica Festival of Arts Domfesta is among the country's main cultural events which had to be cancelled due to COVID-19, while the Golden Drum Award ceremony is still uncertain. Chief Cultural Officer Raymond Lawrence says there are steps media houses can take to ensure the country's culture is kept alive during the crisis.
We have to look for the opportunities within this situation. We have to look for the optimistic side of the situation, and what we could do is maybe rebroadcast some of the events that have already taken place, especially those that have taken place recently. Like for instance, our last year's Independence celebration. We could try to promote some of what took place there, some of what took place in the carnival. Maybe the Queen Show could have reruns, teenage pageant and things like that. Last year's Domfesta activities could be rerun, and so maybe that's where the media too could come in to play a major role. The media to help to bring that kind of uplifting content to the populations, not just in Dominica, but in other parts of the world.
Apart from the media playing its part in preserving the country's heritage, Mr. Lawrence believes other moves should be made to safeguard Dominica's culture.
Efforts should be made, and that's where of course, the very technical people come in, but to sort of have repositories, have documentation centers where these things are well documented, they're archived, they are in a type of library, a repository, whatever we want to call it, but that at any time, at any moment, we can just research and pull up past events. I know mapping has been, Flow has been doing that on GIS and so, but I think now, given this unprecedented situation, it has opened up our eyes to see, well, okay, these things have to be well documented so that, God forbid, you have something like that happening again, we can always rely on those repositories, those documentation centers for that kind of information.
As Dominica looks to navigate its way through the pandemic, the Chief Cultural Officer believes the time spent during lockdown should be used wisely to prepare for the future.
We mustn't see this time so much as a time when nothing can happen. In fact, we must see it as a time where we take stock of what has already happened, what we were planning to do within the next couple of months, and what we really would like to do in the future. Take stock of that and really, come up with some serious plans. And now that we have extra time, so to speak, we can really begin to plan better in a way for the future, like for the short term, the medium term, and the long term, so that, God willing, when we get back into, let's say, a fuller working environment, then we already have the plans.
And while the world is mainly focused on eradicating COVID-19, there's been a failed attempt to overthrow the Nicolas Maduro government in Venezuela. We have a report from Democracy Now!
An incredible story unfolding in Venezuela, where President Nicolas Maduro announced Monday the government had detained 2 former U.S. Special Forces soldiers who took part in a failed coup attempt against him after 10 armed men landed in a boat near Caracas on Sunday. Venezuelan authorities killed 8 of the men, whom they described as mercenary terrorists. 2 men were captured. Speaking from his presidential palace, President Maduro showed U.S. passports for the 2 men, identified as Aaron Berry and Luke Denman. A former Green Beret named Jordan Goudreau has acknowledged the men were working with him and says they attempted to detain Maduro. Maduro accused the U.S. of being behind the plot.
Mike Pompeo was betting on this attack and believed that this attack would end the revolution, end the Constitution, overthrow the government, and kill me. God save us and protect us.
The former Green Beret, Jordan Goudreau, runs a Florida-based private security firm called Silver Corps USA. He told the Associated Press 2 Special Forces veterans he fought with in Iraq and Afghanistan were involved in the operation. Goudreau posted a video on Twitter Sunday in which he called the attack Operation Gideon.
At 1700 hours, a daring amphibious raid was launched from the border of Colombia deep into the heart of Caracas. Our men are continuing to fight right now. Our units have been activated in the south, west, and east of Venezuela. Commander Nieto is with me, is co-located, and Commander Sakay is on the ground now fighting.
Goudreau told the Associated Press the last time he communicated with the 2 Americans who were detained was when they were still offshore, running low on fuel. Goudreau's plan to oust Maduro reportedly began when he provided security at a concert organized by British billionaire Richard Branson in support of Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido. The Associated Press reports Goudreau had a connection to Trump's longtime bodyguard, Keith Schiller, and Goudreau reportedly accompanied Schiller to a meeting with Guaido's representatives last May in Miami. President Trump has denied any involvement.
The reality is that this involved disgruntled Venezuelan military, former police, deserters, political opponents of the Maduro government, and was training in Colombia, and somehow thought that by landing 2 boats, one in Macuto, right next to the major airport and port, and the other one in Chuao, in the state of Aragua, that they were somehow managed to get to Caracas and capture Maduro and install a new government. It is almost fictional. Unfortunately, it's operating in a very charged environment, one in which the U.S. is seeking regime change, and one in which the opposition has adopted, in fact, support for military action, as it did in 2019 with the support for a coup against Maduro. So it's operating in very troubled waters, and the consequences for Venezuela could be very dire going forward.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Avec Flow, gagnez l'argent, on partit l'argent avec Flow. Gagnez l'argent, on gros sac l'argent. C'est juste ça pour gagner un gros sac l'argent avec Flow. Ani mettez on top up, sign up, quittez yo, et venez joindre Flow. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Giving away $30,000 in cash, 2 bags of money plus $1,000 every Friday.
We're flowing better every day, and now we're making parties great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
To end the news, the headlines again. UE Open Campus holds first virtual graduation ceremony. COVID-19 restrictions relaxed further, but a total lockdown continues on Sundays. And U.S. mercenaries fail in attempt to oust Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Feel free to access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us next time.